Republican Congressman Roger Marshall. He's a Republican from Kansas, and he has, of course, this is a classic claim about children being separated from their families is going to turn into a drug cartel conspiracy. No difference between base and leadership.
Interviewed on this network, we've interviewed mothers from Guatemala and Honduras whose sons have been killed by drug cartels, who have fled 1,000 miles north, risking everything. Are they a national security threat?
I think that when you have 50,000 people crossing our border at the same time, that's a problem.
I'm asking you that question about specific...
I'm trying to answer it, Chris. I think that you have to share the rest of the story. The number of families that are opposing us families has quadrupled trying to cross our borders. So you're having people that are doing human trafficking, terrorists and cartel members using
Where is
young
your
kids
evidence that
as
there's terrorist and cartel?
Where
is the evidence of that? I have heard that. Where is your evidence for that? Where is an evidence of a terrorist using a child to cross a border? I would like to see some evidence of that.
Right. So I think what I would encourage you to do is go look at the kids that are under the age of 5 years old that are being in custody right now and see how many of them were separated from true parents as opposed to from cartel members or from traffickers. So I think you need to do some more investigative reporting, and that's why I'm going to the border myself this weekend to sort this out. Yes, sir.
Well, Congressman, I would love it if either you or I could get into the facilities with 5-year-olds, but they won't let us into the facilities with 5-year-olds. And I really would urge you to talk to some of these parents firsthand to determine whether you think they're traffickers. And I would also say, don't you think traffickers and cartels, who of course have been trafficking people and running drugs into this country for decades and have tremendous power in Mexico and Central America, have better ways of people getting in than haggard Honduran moms at crossing the Rio Grande with 2 kids in tow?
You know, how can you explain that the number of families, people posing as families, have quadrupled? How can you explain the number of people asking for asylum has increased exponentially?
Congressman, I'm just asking, what is your evidence? You keep... Congressman, you keep using the word posing. Congressman, I'm just asking you. You keep using the word posing. You keep implying that these people are making up stories, that 5-year-olds have been coached, that they've been taken by traffickers. What I'm asking you is to present evidence that that is happening in any systemic way.
And certainly that was my questions for DHS yesterday, and they've reassured me what I just told you is the truth. And so I think when I go to there this weekend, I'll try to sort it out more. But why don't moms with legitimate family go through the proper routes? If they want asylum, why don't they go through the...
This is happening also to people who go through the quote-unquote proper routes. That's happening right now with standard asylum seekers. That's one of the changes in the policy. There's no difference between this lying, disgusting person and the scum that called the show a couple of days ago, between circular reasoning, conspiracy theories, never providing evidence. And also, these cartels operate with a level of sophistication like air-conditioned, insulated underground tunnels that are world-class engineered to deliver product. And the idea that organizations with billions of dollars in assets, globally sophisticated networks, and yes, absolutely engaging in human trafficking for sure, though that is not a prime business compared to things like gasoline, gold, or drugs, or holding people for hostage for ransom. Yes, the basic question of the primary tactic of the Zetas to get a woman to walk from Guatemala or El Salvador to the border to fake having a kid so they can go and pick cherries somewhere? What the fuck are you talking about? That utter, and again, and this is not pedantry. This isn't like, well, the facts, because that's actually been another response of a certain type of dark web twerp. You know, what is the date on a photo? What is the specifics of this and that? Mitigating the horror and the terrorism with decontextualized factoids. But conversely, the just complete and pure disregard, not only obviously for basic humanity and ethics, but any type of even way of teasing out a truth. I'll just do endless circular reasoning. I mean, that's a fucking child. Did you eat your vegetables? No, I gave them to my friend Who's your friend? Bob. Where is he? He's imaginary. Can I talk to him? No, he only talks to me. That is literally what he just did on national television about a child detention and family separation policy. I want to know. That's why I'm going to go to talk about these problems that we all just made up. And it has to be underlined more and more as we move towards the midterms. The structural problem, look, there needs to be amnesty. And there needs to be a fast track path for people who are here to get citizenship. And as far as the border goes, we just need to, and basically all of the Western world needs to get in harmony with our own protocols that we've signed going back to the 1950s with regards to how to treat refugees and not treat it as a detention center growth industry, which has been the case going back to the 90s in the United States and Western Europe. But in the short term, you need to get Democrats to take over the House. That is the only stopgap right now. And people, we're getting to that time zone where people are going to need to get a little bit real about that. And if 2016, what has happened, has not been enough for you to put away the childish fantasies, then not only is nothing going to be, then you are a useful idiot. And all too many personalities, specifically in the YouTube realm, seem to be useful idiots for this regime. And I'm, of course, not talking about people who rightly criticize Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton and want real radical policy reform. But people not getting real about the urgency of this moment. Yeah, you're not only embarrassing at this point, you are structurally part of the problem. And it's going to be up to us to pick up the piece on every single front, because we recognize what needs to happen politically and programmatically now, and then we're going to have to keep fighting the Democrats in many cases to do what actually needs to be done.
Yeah, that's the next stage in the fight, is the liberal tech capitalist party. But we don't get to go at them right now.
It's called order of operations.